that super random moment where you're driving to get somewhere and you see a herd of bison. There are so many of them. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, back on the road we go. I love my life. That was so cool. Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Today started off super fun driving through the panhandle of Texas, and now we are in New Mexico and about to go do something that I am really excited about. I think I got a little bit of sun yesterday, so my face is a little bit pink, and today I got the opposite of that. It is raining. So let's focus on the road and see if this place is open. See that big, what looks to be mountain over there? That's where we're going. Couple little tidbits to note. It is lightning, so I don't know how that's going to work out, but we are about to pass over the final cattle guard before we enter into the property. I just had to pull off to show you just how big this thing is. It is so cool. Oh goody, it's raining more. We made it to the entrance, and obviously it's raining, but over here, there was a lightning strike a while ago. Now we are going this way, but where we're going is higher up, so I don't know how this is gonna work. Like, we're gonna go up around this thing up here. But with that said, we are at Capulin Volcano National Monument in New Mexico, and we're going to cross our fingers as the rain lifts that we will be able to see this. Okay, we made it to the visitor center. It is raining hard, so we're gonna get a realistic expectation of what we'll be able to see inside, but I am putting on a hat for sure and maybe some sleeves, because it is also quite chilly here, despite the fact that while I am filming this, it is actually August. I was not expecting that. Okay guys, we are not going up on the mountain, and this is why. This right here was an actual piece of a bench, one of the ones that was like outside the visitor center here, and look at this. This is what happens whenever it gets struck by lightning. Now, the mountain is a very high iron content, which means that anything like this right here, or like us when we're in the van, would be literally a target for the lightning. So, for our safety today, we will not be going up onto the mountain. So, another adventure for another day. Okay guys, as always, I try to check out the video, even if I can't go see the site. That way I kind of know a little bit of the history of the location itself, and wow, this one was a really, really good one. But I also had one of the rangers suggest that right around this corner, I check out one of the stories that relates to a museum that's just right up the road. So out here we go, let's go check it out. It's on these screens right here that we can actually learn a little bit more about a man who made a massive discovery in this area, and it took quite a time for them to actually believe him. It wasn't until after his death that they actually went and explored the site that he had discovered and realized he was right the entire time. Now, the main reason that this man was not taken seriously for his discovery was because he was a freed slave, and he didn't have any kind of formal education when it came to finding things like in the archaeological setting. However, after a lot of convincing, people came after him and finally went down and looked at what he had discovered. And in doing so, they found one of the most amazing discoveries of time. Like, literally such a cool discovery. It's called the 5 Points. There is a museum called the Folsom Museum that actually goes into a little bit more of the depth and detail of this particular impact of this site. Okay, now all of the things in this box right here are actually things that you would find on the mountain itself. The mountain, of course, sprang up and it was a volcano, so these pieces all look so different because, as we've seen at some of our other sites, volcanoes produce some very curious items. And then the items on the end over here are related to animals in the area. Now this, guys, is what one of those benches might have looked like up at the top that got hit by lightning. And these are made of recycled materials. They are thick and they are big. So the fact that one of them got hit by lightning is quite crazy. I'm just glad that they're protecting us today. Now, just a visual, since the rain has come in, we can't even see the top of the crater now. That is insane. Visibility is not very much, and even though the rain is starting to dwindle down a little bit, they still have to go up there and check it out. So we will be back definitely on another day when maybe we'll have a little bit better visibility. Now, a ranger did tell me that when you're at the top, you can see for about 70 miles in every direction, and it's absolutely amazing. And watching the film, I was able to see that there is a trail that kind of goes around the entirety. It's about a mile long, and it only has about a 300-foot elevation gain, so super easy. But on that trail, you can see all of the different wildlife and all of the plants and everything that was able to come and thrive after the volcano. But we learned that the first thing that actually came back to the area after everything was decimated was actually the littlest of things, the lichen. The thing that we think is just moss, it actually came out onto all of this nasty, ashy rock and started to break it down and create lush soil. So all of the foliage that we see like this and everything around us could actually have something to thrive in. So that's so cool. Even if we didn't get to go up to the top, we still got to come and find out so much more. And now we're off to the next part of our adventure. And the rain did help Dimples just a little bit. Yeah, not quite as dirty, still kind of nasty though. Ugh. And I did go ahead and take advantage of this stop, and I found this little Junior Ranger charm. That's a bunny! So I picked it up. I'm going to retrofit it to my keychain, and we're gonna have a really nice, cute keychain to remind us to come back and do this hike. Now, today has not gone as we originally thought it would, but some days it's best just to get in the van, load up and go, and not have any set agenda. And that's kind of what I did this morning. I woke up, I took my time around camp, I left out, I found the bison. I made it all the way into New Mexico, and my only other goal of the day is to make it to Colorado by nightfall. So I think all in all, we are checking those boxes off loud and clear. And we found some cool other things to circle back to later on, and I love that. We're not finished with the day yet though. We have some more road to cover, so let's see what else we can get into. And yeah, it is getting a little bit brighter and the rain is slowing down, but I would rather wait to go to the top to when I can see everything. I think that the experience would be much better that way. And now we get to experience this beautiful view as we go off to our next stop. And with that being said, I have sensitive eyes, so we're back in the sunglasses. Okay, if we go to our right for about 8 miles, we can get to the Folsom Museum, and it is open daily. So I think that's where we're off to next. Now, the ranger did tell me that the Folsom Museum focuses on archaeology and also the Native Americans from this area, so that's right up our alley, and I'm really excited. He said it's kind of a different kind of museum, so I'm really eager to see what he's talking about, but you know, we're that close, we might as well go. Again, take your time, enjoy yourself, do lots of things. That's what van life is really supposed to be about, not limiting yourself. So here we go. Okay guys, we are inside the Folsom Museum, and it is a really interesting, eclectic, different mix of things in here for us to go and browse through. So there's a lot of antiquities and then also a lot of artifacts and things like that. And so this is gonna be fun. Now this morning we saw a herd of bison or buffalo, and this is what a skull for one of those would have looked like. This thing is huge. Look, this is the size of my hand right here, and it's much larger. Now I'm not gonna touch it obviously, but wow, so big. Now around the museum you can find different donations from different people, and they're indicated by these little cards that you find. It tells you what it is, and then if it was donated by someone and where they were from. And that's kind of cool because there's so many cool artifacts in here from all sorts of different times and periods. They even have some really unique like statues, sculptures, things like that. Like this, look at this. It's a switchboard that was actually loaned to the museum by the Clayton Telephone Company. And this collection right here actually features Emma and Vern Adams. And I think it's really nice whenever we can have a face to put with the people, and then also a brief story of who they are. Along this table, a rock and fossil collection. Now, if you've seen my video of the Ladonia Fossil Park, some of these things are very similar to the things that are found in the Ladonia River there. This is so cool. Like, look at this. This looks very similar to something that Mom actually found. That is so neat. And that's actually a mussel shell impression. Now see, all the places that we go to along the way, no matter what state that they're in, they tend to link back to one another. And I think that that's so neat, which is another reason why I come to places like this. I can find little pieces that connect no matter where I am. And that right there connects us back to Texas also. Now, if you're interested in rose rocks, they have a very nice collection right here. And then next to that, they have a Selenite Crystal. That is actually from Jet, Oklahoma, where we've also dug. That's awesome. So that came from the Great Salt Plains. We've been there. Now, can you imagine? This was an X-ray machine that was used at one point in time in Oklahoma. This thing is huge. Wow. Of course, nowadays they have the portable X-rays that they can just bring into the room and be done. And then they have the bigger ones, of course, but this was the only option then. And right next to this, it looks like we have a gurney also. Now, remember how I was telling you about the man who made the discovery that nobody wanted to believe? This is him. This is George Mcjunkin. He was considered to be a black cowboy who had reached the pinnacle in his profession. He was a foreman of the Crowfoot Ranch in northern New Mexico. And he had an innate eye to do things, and people sought him out for his skill. Yet, despite all of this, they couldn't take him seriously when it came to the discovery that he had made. Now, the discovery that he made was actually a bison kind of in a strange place. And he knew that there was something very strange about this bison being in that particular area. And he just insisted and insisted that there was more to this than just a bison had gotten into a low-lying area and died. And so this actual area here describes the process it took for them to finally excavate it. And what they found, those 5 points. Now, let me show you what a point is if you're not familiar. Now, this right here would have been an illustration of what that point would have looked like. And as you can see here, it looks like a little arrow because that's basically what it is. The Native Americans would have had these and used them for a variety of different things. Now, why is this significant though? That's the real question. It's because at this point when they found this, this wasn't something that was typical to be found. Like, they found this and they were astonished by the fact that not only did he have the insight to know this, but also at the discovery itself and the preserved level of the specimen. They were actually able to lift it out Right here, you can see that. That's the actual specimen being lifted out so that they could study it and look into it and learn more. Now, of course, that is a huge piece of information and a really cool thing to see just right here at the Folsom Museum. But in addition, you can also find a variety of other collections, including saddles intact. There's also old kitchen equipment and things like that. Cool things that you would find in a store of the earlier days. And then, of course, some of those items that we already looked at. Okay, we have one more thing to look at before we call it a day here at the Folsom Museum. There's actually a historic marker out here that I do want to look at. I find that these are absolutely the best thing to tell the last part of the story so that we can tie it all together. And guys, we are actually in for a treat because this is a double-sided marker. On one side, it is Sarah Sally J. Rook, and it talks about how she was the heroine of Dry Cimarron Flood. It tells about the flood that happened in 1908 while she was working as a telephone operator, and that the water was rushing down, coming toward Folsom. She perished that stormy night at her switchboard, but she managed to save countless lives, staying at her post to make sure that everyone knew what was happening. On the other side of the marker, the New Mexico Historic Women Marker Initiative. This talks about how the New Mexico Historic Women's Marker Initiative was founded in 2005 by members of the New Mexico Women's Forum. It's a statewide effort to recognize women and their contribution to New Mexico. And I think that's awesome because I have read a lot of historic markers, and a lot of times the women's voices do go unnoticed. And so finding out that this marker right here, where we learned right here about this exceptional woman, is being honored in the very place that she was able to save lives is amazing. Now, just beside the museum is the Folsom Memorial Garden, and it is beautiful back here. Look at this gorgeous, well-landscaped area. And then there's this tree. Immediately when I pulled up, this tree caught my attention because it is huge. And it looks like it tells quite the story all by itself. Now, just to kind of give you a reference here, the tree versus my hand, I don't even, yeah, it's huge. Look, guys, oh my gosh, they're so pretty. I'm telling you, today is just the lucky day to see all of the amazing wildlife. This has been awesome, even with the rain, just being out here in these wide open spaces, just taking it slow. It's amazing what happens when you slow the world down a little bit. You start to see all of the pretty things. Okay, adventurers, we have made it to Colorado, where we will be spending quite some time on our adventures, and I am so excited. I haven't been here in a while, so I think we're going to take a couple days to kind of acclimate to some of the altitude and then take on some fun. Now, I'm right now on the side of the highway at a scenic overlook, and look at these views! It's gorgeous. Now, by no means is this pull-off a taste of what is to come. It has a glimpse of the beauty, but it's kind of noisy, and we expect to find several quiet, serene, amazing places while here in Colorado. So we have some time for that. I'm not sure how long we're going to be here, But if you have enjoyed getting to Colorado today, make sure that you hit the like, subscribe, and check out my future content, because we have a ton of really fun places that I have planned, and we're also going to take the scenic path as we go and just see what pops up. Till next time, guys. Bye!